Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I am here to review the episode 3 of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I believe it is called The Power Broker. I believe it's called that. The Power Broker. I believe it's called The Power Broker. Now this episode is a lot. This episode takes place almost immediately after episode 2. It's a little bit of a stuff between. It starts off with this kind of infomercial, commercial thing. It's just about the I think it's called the GRP. I think it's called the GRP. And apparently, the GRP is an organization put together to help people who return from the blip. Now, understand, there's been confusion. There are two different words in Marvel. The blip is people coming back. But when people disappeared, it was called the decimation. In canon, people disappearing is called the decimation, while people coming back is called the blip. It's called the blip because of how people came back. Because essentially, it was just like that. Like, you've seen Spider-Man: Homecoming, right? If you saw how people came back. They just kind of popped back into existence. Like, sure, WandaVision kind of showed it a different way. It showed it like them people coming back piece by piece. But that's like I'm just going according to them. That's basically just them doing it in slow motion. They're showing it in slow motion, but in real time, it just looks like a pop. It just looks like boop. You're just back in existence. So that's why they call it the blip, because it's like as if people blip back in existence. But I just wanted to put that out there because I see a lot of mix up. I see a lot of confusion amongst some people about the two things. I've seen even John Campea is like, I won't call it the blip. I'm like, well, the blip isn't people disappearing. The blip is people coming back. But anywho, this episode really was the most fun episode. I gotta go on a limb and tell you that. This episode, so much world building, so much fun. This episode felt like a movie. Now, not to say the other episodes didn't, because the first episode felt like the first episode. There are scenes in WandaVision and the first two episodes of the Falcon and Winter Soldier that feel like movies. But for the most part, it feels like Mandalorian / like Game of Thrones level, HBO level of a show. High quality, and I could see it in the theater, but not quite like spectacle. And there are moments like the action sequences and some of the things, and I'm like, I could definitely see it. But this felt like an MCU movie because of how much fun it was, the world building. You got Zemo, Sharan Cater, the action, Madripoor, which looked amazing. Like, it was so much going on in this episode. It might be my favorite episode. And I love episode 1. I love episode 1 more than most people did. I absolutely adored it, but this one was even more fun than that. But the episode starts off with that. But then you kind of cut to John Walker leading a team to go into this cafe in Europe, where he it turns out it's the same cafe this Flag Smashers were laying low in, because you see that same guy who was giving them all that food and stuff and saying that they're the Robin Hood for us. And like, it's revealed too in this scene that the reason that these cafe owners and all these different kind of local people, like smaller people, are willing to give them refuge is because the Flag Smashers, like the stuff they steal, the medicine, the food and stuff, they give it to people who have been what's the word? I think it was displaced or something like that. Because as it turns out, a lot of people aren't as lucky as like as Peter Parker and Aunt May. A lot of people are getting thrown in camps because they have nowhere to go. They have no money, they have no income, they have nowhere to go, and it's no fault of their own, so they're being put in these camps. And people are taking advantage, and it turns out the government's kind of taking advantage, governments are taking advantage of these people who returned with nothing, and like, they're not getting any medicine, they're not getting enough food, and that's why the Flag Smashers were formed in the first place. But it's kind of acknowledged right here that, like, that's like, you know, when fake Captain America, aka John Walker, tries to talk to dude into giving him information, dude spits in his face, and he's just like, John's all like, do you know who I am? And dude's like, yeah, I know who you are, and I don't care. And it's like what he represents, because the GRP is clearly suspect. They're clearly sketchy as hell, and they're clearly getting the backing of the United States government somehow. I do like how they're pretty smart to do that. They're trying to kind of like put what's the word I'm looking for? A thin little line between them and the government, because technically the GRP are the government, but they're not technically the United States government. They're like a United States government United States government back them, but they're not them. You know what I mean? It's like if a branch in the it's like if I don't know, if the FBI went rogue or something. If something really happened in the FBI, it turns out they were like doing their own fucking thing. You couldn't really blame like the government. It wouldn't be much for the United States government to say, well, that wasn't us. They were doing something we didn't even know about. You know what I mean? Like it's just like so they kind of gave themselves that little separation, so just in case, not to be like the government did this. Oh well, no, it's the GRP. It was them. We backed them, but we didn't know. But yeah. So then after that scene, you cut to Sam and Bucky at Berlin in his maximum security facility. Bucky's all like, oh no, I'll go talk to him by myself because you're an Avenger. He might flip out. Now at the time you think, oh, I get it. At the time you just kind of take him for his word. You're like, okay, all right, this is gonna be a nice tense scene. They totally play Zemo up like Hannibal Lecter from Silence of the Lambs. Except even like with the whole motif and the glass. He's behind this glass box. He's in this glass box, and half the room is in the light, and the back room is in the dark. So like him just coming out of the shadows, saying those code words to Bucky that would use the activated him in Civil War, but they're not working. They have a nice little tit for tat, but it becomes apparent that the reason Bucky wanted to go in that cell by himself is because he knew he would have to break out Zemo. And Zemo kind of figured that out immediately, too, when he started mentioning super soldiers. He's like, oh, you got no leads. You need me. Which, the moment he started talking like that, I was like, oh, man, this is problematic, guys, but it's okay. And then it cuts to Sam and Bucky, like, in this random-ass warehouse. And Bucky's like, why are we... It's like, why are we here? What are we doing here? Like, why are we in this dark-ass room? What are we doing? And then Bucky starts talking to him about breaking out Zemo. This is totally one of those situations where you did something. You know it was probably wrong, but you're not. It's not probably wrong, but you're just hoping that maybe they'd see things your way. So you kind of warm up to it, like you bought something. You bought like a brand new car, like a financially changing car, and you're just like, so what if I? And you're married or you got a lover, and you're just like, so what if I did this? Because Bucky literally just goes, well, okay, I get it. You don't want to break Zemo out. But hypothetically, let's run through the process. Hypothetically, just for fun. It's just like, bruh, you totally did. And the whole time he's breaking down, hypothetically, how Zemo can break out. Zemo is doing the actual thing in real time. So by the time he gets to the end of it, Sam's just like, why are we talking about this? Why are you talking about it so calmly? And why are we talking about this at all? Like, what is going on? And then you see Zemo just walk into the place with a guard uniform on. It's just like, what the fuck, dude? I'm like, what the hell? But that was kind of funny. That was really funny. But eventually they ended up, accepting Zemo's help. Turns out Zemo is fucking rich because he was a baron and his family was royalty in Sokovia. Which, I mean, granted, Sokovia doesn't exist anymore, but the money and the power that his family still has probably does. I'm thinking some family members actually made it out of there. So the money and what his family represents still does. Like, he has this fleet of just classic cars. You see the Zemo mask for the first time. He has his own private jet. He has a butler. He's walking around that fur coat like a boss. Like, I mean, Zemo is the shit this episode. I love Zemo, man. I love Zemo in Civil War because I love the idea of this ordinary man bringing down gods. Like, this ordinary dude, not with his fist, just with knowledge. This ordinary dude brought down the gods with knowledge. So I brought down the Avengers with just knowledge. So I thought that was... So I always loved Zemo from that moment. Plus, he was very influential in the events that would happen after Civil War. But this Zemo is such a... He's different. He's got this wry sense of humor. Like, this is the first time you get to spend time with him, and he's got this wry sense of humor. You could just see him fucking with them, manipulating them. The way he talks about superheroes, which granted, he does bring up a good point. Because one of the points he brings up while they're on the plane, amongst many points he brings up through the course of the show, is that there is an inherent danger in putting heroes on too high of a pedestal. Because certain things can happen. It opens the door for certain things to happen. And there is a part of me that does think that maybe Sam and Bucky do put Captain America on too high of a pedestal. Understand this. I love Captain America, but maybe their love for Steve, their love for Cap is blinding them from being able to move forward. The reason Sam can't really take that shield is is two things. Half of it is, sure, he has mixed feelings on representing America as a black man in America, and then the other half is his respect for Steve. He does not think he can be that kind of guy. They don't see Steve as a person. That's 99, that makes sense. But they don't see Steve as a person. They see Steve as this icon. Like, Sam and him are both stuck in this spot. Sam and Bucky are both stuck in this spot. Sam is stuck because he doesn't think he can live up to the glory, to the scale that Steve represented, or even if he should, or he doesn't even know if he should do it. And Bucky's stuck because he feels like he owes everything to Steve, and he wants to prove Steve right. He wants to make sure that Steve didn't make a mistake on him. But they're both stuck by that man. The man who loved them and they love him. But it's crazy how that works. It's just complicated, man. It's complicated. And I love that. But Zemo, in the background, weaving shit. Though he did have a great line because they made a joke about Captain America's book and how he listened to Marvin Gaye's I think it was was it Simple Man? I think it was Simple Man. I can't remember the song off the top of my head. I think it was Simple Man. And like, Zemo had this amazing line where he was like, I love that song. It's an authentic song about the black experience. And like, Sam's just like, the hell? I mean, you're out of line for saying that, but he is right. It's just like Zemo, he's down, dude. Like, there's a line later in the show where they have to go to Madripoor, which Madripoor is a lot of shit. It's like Cyberpunk, Tortuga from Pirates of the Caribbean, that one fucking place from Black Lagoon. I can't remember the name of that place off the top of my head, but that place where just criminals, it is a criminal haven. It's literally separated by Low Town and High Town. That is literally, you can see it. There are towers in the back, low shit in the front. Like, there's basically no law really down there. Ain't no extradition, so you can't. I'll probably said that wrong. You can't, like, no, if you go there, ain't nobody gonna come. And no one can get you out of there. Problem is, it's completely lawless. It is like an outlaw's haven. And this is a place that's been used in the comics many times before, usually associated with Wolverine. Wolverine spent a lot of time at this place, but usually, this is the place where shit gets, like, if you're a criminal or you're looking for criminals, this is the place you want to go, because no one's gonna, because, like, you can do it, because, like, it's just a criminal haven. So they have to go there, but they have to disguise, like, Sam has to disguise himself as some other character. I think his name was called the Smiling Lion, something like that. I think it was Smiling Lion, something like that. But turns out that character that Sam is pretending to be is an actual character in Marvel Comics. So that was kind of funny. And his actual suit was the color scheme of that character from the comics, which I thought was actually kind of a neat little Easter egg for anyone who would even think to look for that. But Sam makes a comment about how, because he's the most loudly dressed person, and he makes a comment, he's just like, all right, we gotta do something. I'm out here, why am I the only one who's dressed like a pimp? And Zemo, once again, is like, look, he's like, only Americans think that a fashion-first black man is considered a pimp. Only in America do you think that a fashion-first black man. And it dawned on me, I was like, yeah, you're right. That is only in America. Because, like, only in America have we really had fashion, fashion, crazy dressed pimps. Everywhere else just got just regular dudes who are just like, I'm a pimp. So that is kind of funny to think about. I was like, man, that's a good point there. But, you know, it's made abundantly clear this place is rough. But this place looks amazing, dude. I hope they come back here. Maybe not in this show. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll have a reason to. But I hope they come back here another time, because Madripoor looked awesome. It looked cool. Like I said, it looked like some cyberpunk shit. It looked like the dirty. It was something like a hybrid between, like, cyberpunk and, like, let me think, maybe cyberpunk, Beijing. Like, it looked really seedy. It looked dirty. It looked like a place. It had that neon thing going. It like I said, I could just describe it as like a dirty place in cyberpunk. It was cool looking. It was really freaking cool. But as you would think, they go there to get information. Zemo's still doing his thing, still messing with Bucky and Sam. It does become apparent to me about halfway through this episode that, like, Zemo's in control of this whole situation. Like, the fact that he could have taken off many times and gotten away, but he hasn't, he doesn't, makes me go, oh, he's in control of this whole goddamn situation. The whole damn thing. But one thing leads to another. Zemo says that he knows someone at this bar that would help them. Eventually they get to this lady, start talking to him. Things go south, shootout goes down, John Wick shit happens where like literally when the shootout goes down, there's a bounty immediately placed on all of them while they're walking down the road. They're running away from it. They get saved by Sharan Carter, who is back in this episode. Sharan is different though. Sharan is a little bit more cynical. Okay, she's a lot more cynical. She's more cynical. She's kind of got this jaded attitude towards heroes in general. Not only towards the government, but heroes in general. And she actually regrets helping Sam. And there's a part of her, clearly, that regrets helping them out to begin with in Civil War. So that's interesting. But to survive out here, she had to use her skills that she picked up on as a SHIELD agent, as a CIA agent, to become an art collector who steals the real artwork from museums, replace them with fake ones, and sells it on the black market. And it is paid well because she lives in Hightown. She lives in Hightown. Yeah, so like that should tell you about that. It's either Hightown or High City. She lives in Hightown, so that should just tell you how well she's doing. I mean, she got a beautiful fucking place, and like at a certain point, she throws like a freaking party there, and there's this hilarious. This is gonna be the gift thing of the fucking show. Is Zemo just like jamming, just like Zemo, Zemo, he's like in this club, just like bruh. That was pretty funny, just dun 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 dun. Like, okay. Anyways, one thing leads to another. Sharan figures out where this guy is, where the scientist is, because that's the information they got from the lady at the bar. Was the scientist's name? They find the scientist at this shipping place. All these shipping containers and whatnot. They find their way into the scientist's lab. While they're talking to the scientist, trying to pump him from information, Sharan Carter's out here just whooping ass. I'm talking Atomic Blonde style whooping ass. As these people, bounty hunters, are coming around the area trying to look for them. She is whooping them, man. I mean, it's pretty brutal. I will say one thing. If you thought that they couldn't do Moon Knight because of an R rating, shut the fuck up. Shut up right now. Go sit in the corner. You don't know what you're talking about. Because that was some brutal stuff. You can do it without having to get bloody, man. It was, whew, man, that was brutal. But they get the information, they get out of there. Sharan says she's going to stay. Zemo puts on his mask and has a badass moment. There is a suspicious thing where Zemo kills the doctor. And clearly none of them agreed upon him doing something like that when he did it. There's probably a reason for that. We'll find out later. But yeah, but they go off, and the ending of this episode, as they're following up on so many things, there is also a little subplot with the Flag Smashers going off on their own and stealing food, but actually killing people, which may be a mistake they may be the last mistake they make in this show. Well, maybe not the last, but it'll be the big one that really catapults them to the to the top of the most wanted list. Turns out something that was mentioned earlier in the episode by Sam, talking about how the Wakandans did not forget about what Zemo did. While Zemo, Bucky, and Sam are walking, Bucky notices something. These tiny little black beads just around. He tells him to go ahead. As he walks back, picks up the beads, and then boom, Dora Milaje's right behind him, and he's just like, and then she's just like, I want Zemo. It's the same Dora Milaje from both Black Panther and Civil War. Actually, it's the first Dora Milaje you meet. I can't remember her name on top of my head, but you meet her. She's the one who's told Black Widow, move or be moved. That one shows up here. She's clearly Okoye's second in command in the Dora Milaje. Clearly sent out here because they heard about Zemo being broken out and she's supposed to kill him. And I hope we shall see. Is a fight about to happen, or the Dora Milaje about to help them out? We don't know. But this episode was fucking fantastic. I give it a 10. Loved it. It was great. The music was great. The atmosphere was great. The locations they were going to were great. You learn more about the characters. Zemo is awesome. Sam and Bucky are great. Sharan Carter kicked so much ass. It was cool. I mean, this thing looked like a movie. I want more Madripoor. I hope they go back there one day. Hell, I wouldn't even mind them doing a side shit about a Madripoor, like a Madripoor like crime thing. Like do fucking like, I don't know, like just a Madripoor crime movie or something. I'd love that too. Anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show. Please remember to like, subscribe, and tell me, comment below, how much did you like this episode? Because I loved it. Thank you guys again. See you in the next one.